we are moving towards greater inner freedom. That's why you're watching this, because that is ultimately what you want. That is ultimately what humanity wants. Humanity wants to feel free and experience more freedom. Therefore, if we are not experiencing more freedom right now, then that means that we are somehow imprisoned, because the idea of prison is to reduce the level of freedom a person feels. And who doesn't want to feel free? No one wants to be jailed. Hello, beautiful soul. Before we move on with the messages, I wanted to share something exciting with you. I am blowing away all my 2023 predictions for each zodiac sign at a crazy, incredible 75% off. So if you are wondering what's happening for the rest of the year, if you just want to check in what's going on, if you're curious what your lessons are, if you're curious what you are letting go of karmically, if you are curious as to what it is that you still need to address in order to expand into your higher consciousness, click on the link below. You'll be taken to a site where you will take advantage of this incredible offer. I've never done this before. If you purchase the bundle, you will get each sign at approximately $1.25 per sign. The bundle is 14 hours of incredibly deep, powerful content. So if you were not in a position to purchase them before, I think this is going to be an opportunity for pretty much everyone to be able to afford it. I just feel extra generous, and I want you all to have this information. And we're more than halfway through the year, and that's actually a really good point to check in and see what's coming up for you. So 75% off on all my 2023 predictions. I hope you enjoy them. Let me know how you feel about them. I've already got a lot of information from people who purchased them at the beginning of the year, and all of the feedback has been that these messages are quite incredible and quite powerful. So enjoy. And let's move on with the messages. Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to my channel. My name is Joanna. If this is your first time here, welcome. I hope you stay. I hope that what you hear here will help you, maybe sometimes profoundly help you to navigate this external physical world. But in actuality, these messages are designed for the purpose of helping you navigate your own inner world. Because at the end of the day, your inner world dictates what you experience in your outer world. So if we can make sense of our inner world, our outer world will make so much more sense. If you like what you hear, if you find it helpful, I would love for you to hit the notification button. It tells the algorithm that this video is worth watching. Click like, share, subscribe. Me and my team would be very grateful if you are inclined to do that. At the end of the day, the more people that are exposed to this information about directing their focus inwards, the more we will be able to shift our identities, or what we identify with. And in the process, we will help to, dare I say, save the world. I'm asking the question, does the world need saving? I want to say yes and no. We first have to save ourselves, because we make up the world. But what is it that we need to save? What are we trying to save ourselves from? From ourselves. So if you are watching this, there is pretty sure a part of you that is trying to figure out, what is this life all about? What is this all about? Why am I here? And you are looking likely at how you identify yourself. In other words, the way you see yourself, you will see your world, or you will experience your world. And I just released a video on the significance of perceptions and choices. If you haven't listened to it, there's a link down below. It'll give you a pretty good information on the power behind our perceptions and what we identify with and don't identify with, and how that affects our world. We live in a world in a constant change. And as such, everything is changing. Things are in flux. But being in flux is not a bad thing. It simply means we are in a process of movement. But movement from where to what? What are we moving from, or what are we moving to? That's a great question. Essentially, if I could put it in this sentence, we are moving towards greater inner freedom. That's why you're watching this, because that is ultimately what you want. That is ultimately what humanity wants. Humanity wants to feel free and experience more freedom. Therefore, if we are not experiencing more freedom right now, then that means that we are somehow imprisoned, because the idea of prison is to reduce the level of freedom a person feels. And who doesn't want to feel free? No one wants to be jailed. If you aren't coming back to this channel, if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for being here. Without you, I wouldn't do this. There would be no need for me to do this, because there would be no listeners. And because you are listening, I know that this is making some difference to you. Because if it wouldn't be making any difference to you, you wouldn't be listening to it. You would not be wasting your time. So thank you for your time. Your time is very valuable. You have finite amount of time in this physical world. So it is important that you pay attention where you put your effort and time to. And if you are putting effort into something that you find of value, then you will be able to use this value, whatever is of value to you, in order to enhance your own freedom in the world. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being a participant, and welcome to your healing journey. If you are here, you are participating in your own healing journey voluntarily, consciously. Maybe not so consciously for some people, but whether we know it, whether we think about it, whether we like it, whether we don't like it, we are all here on a healing journey. What are we healing from? We are healing from our past. Why is it important to be healed from our past? Because when we are living in our past, we are essentially holding ourselves back. We are not able to create more than what we have created in the past. And we want to be free to create so much more than what has been already created. But nothing has been created. We have created it. We have created our world. The world we live in, we have created it. And that is difficult for the logical mind to grasp. What do you mean, I have created this world? How can that be? Well, you have co-created it with billions of other souls and with planet Earth. You are a co-creator. That's who you are. So if you are co-creating with the universe, and you are co-creating also with your past, you are essentially telling the universe that you want to experience more of your past. Now, you're not doing this consciously, of course, but that's how it works. We communicate with consciousness, higher consciousness, the universe, all the time. How? By the thoughts we have about ourselves and the world. And consequently, what we do with these thoughts. How do we behave? And based on what we think, and based on what we believe, based on what we feel, the universe co-creates with us accordingly. We put tremendous amount of effort to our past without even realizing it. How? Because we're constantly looking to our past in order to create our future. We're looking to our past for information to create our future. And we are organizing our efforts based on our past to create our future. Now, I guess that could work if we are co-creating with the past that was wonderful, but we are here to heal from our past, which means there is a lot of trauma rooted in our past. And many of you know the history of this world. There's a lot of trauma. Humans are good at this trauma thing. And this is not an indicator of someone's fault. It's just we humans are very good at creating trauma. Now, the question might be, is trauma self-created? That's a very good question, yes and no. Sometimes we create our own trauma. That is not to be confused with having experienced trauma and believing that somehow you've deserved this. No. It's not how it works. It's not about deserving or undeserving. The universe, pardon me my French, doesn't give a shit about this idea of deserving or undeserving. That's a human thing. You are deserving of everything you believe in and not believe in. You're deserving of everything, whatever you want. If you want something, you're deserving of that. The question is, do you believe it? And whether you believe that you are deserving or undeserving is rooted somewhere in the past. So there's a lot of feelings and emotions coming up right now to be healed around the very idea of guilt, shame, and deserving. One of the biggest ones is, and it's fairly unconscious for humans, is, do I deserve to be loved? Everyone seeks love. Now, not everyone may be conscious that that's what they're seeking, but everyone seeks love, sense of belonging, peace, and freedom. That is what every single being wants. A being is here wanting to express itself to the fullest. You are a being. There's a part of you that wants to express itself to the fullest of your potential. But if we are living in the past, and past is limited, then we cannot create our future to the fullest potential if we are limiting ourselves. That cannot happen. The question then becomes, how do we limit ourselves? And there is a plethora of ways the way we limit ourselves, but the way primarily we limit ourselves is by what we believe and what we think. If you believe that you are undeserving, that will be your truth. That will then be part of your creative process in your future. Why on earth would you want that? Nobody wants to feel undeserving. Nobody wants to be undeserving, but there's no such thing as being undeserving. Undeserving of what? Undeserving of what? If you ever felt undeserving, if somebody said you don't deserve this or that, what is it really that you are undeserving of? Being yourself? Well, too bad, you already are. Are you being fully yourself? Or do you feel somehow undeserving to be fully yourself? What does it mean to be fully yourself? You might ask yourself this question. What could it mean for you to be fully yourself? What does it mean to be fully you? That's question number one. Question number two, do you want to experience more of the fuller you? Do you want to experience more of the enormous you? Chances are the answer is yes. Yes. If your answer is no, which would be fairly infrequent, then that's okay. Then what you are really saying is, I choose to stay limited and experience myself as a limited being in limited ways. And if that is your conscious choice, if this is what you want, more power to you. you will be limiting yourself powerfully with your own power. And if that's what you want, if that's what you truly desire, yes, go for it. But it has nothing to do with you being undeserving of more. There's no such thing. You are infinite. Your power is exponential. Your power is infinite. You may not understand that about yourself having an experience of a human body, but that is who you are beyond your humanness. Humanity is very much healing right now the very idea that we are humans only, flesh and bones. Humanity is healing from that perception. Now, why would we use the term healing? Well, because believing that we are humans only limits our potential. Believing that there is nothing more to you than your flesh and bones limit your potential. How? Because you won't expand your mind beyond your beliefs. If you believe that you are a limited human being only, and that's all there is to you, you will not expand your awareness beyond that. That will be your limit, but you are so much more than that. You are capable of tremendous feats, enormous feats, ones you may not have even dreamed of. But if you keep believing in your limitations, you're never going to be able to experience that. How? In order to experience something, there's a part of you that must believe it. If you believe there is no God, for example, whatever God means to you, you will not allow yourself to experience God. Yet God is everywhere and everything. So what you will be doing is you will be living in denial. When you're in denial of something, you are not able to see the bigger truth. And sometimes seeing the bigger truth is very freeing. In fact, it is almost always very freeing. It allows you to see more. It allows you to perceive more. It allows you to shift your perspective from being a limited being only to being someone who is far more unlimited, just not with a expanded consciousness. So in order for you to experience more limitedness, you have to expand your consciousness. That is what we are healing. We are healing as humanity I want to use the term unevolved consciousness. That is not to say we have not evolved, but we certainly are not evolved. We are not yet evolved being, and that's okay. That's okay. That's part of the process. The universe is always moving towards evolution, growth, expansion. We are, as humanity, in a profound space of expansion. You know that. By the time you hear next year, in October 2024, your mind may be blown by the things you've learned about yourself or learn about yourself. And as a result of that, your consciousness having been expanded. You're not able to see that yet because you're not there yet. But that is what's happening. You being listener to this information are choosing to consciously practice expanding your consciousness. That's a beautiful thing. Because what you are doing by consciously participating in expanding your consciousness, you are saying to yourself that you are choosing to be more. You are telling the universe, I choose to experience more, thank you. And the universe is, we got you. What we're saying is this. When you intend or ask for awareness of higher consciousness, you will be shown situations for you to expand what you perceive and how you perceive. You may be looking at your material world one day, realizing that there is so much more to what you are looking at than the material, that there's another aspect to it that you were not able to see before. And in fact, this other aspect is so much bigger than the material. Material is final or finite. What you will begin to see is that whatever is beyond the material is infinite. You are part of that. You are part of the infinite. And this is how the consciousness is changing, how the consciousness is shifting. You are not here to have hard times only. You are here to have fun. Now, in order to have fun, we probably have to relax a little. If you're not relaxed, you're not having fun. You're rigid, you're stuck, you're stressed. Do we need more stress? Certainly not. Yet life is very stressful. Stress acts as a confinement. That is not to say that some stress isn't good. Some stress is indicative of growth, and it's very good for growth. Too much stress? Not so much. It dampens the physical body's ability to heal, for one. Humans are running around very stressed during these times. What's happening in the world? What's happening to me? Well, as we've explained earlier, planet is going through healing. You are going through a healing. You are on a journey of self-healing. You are in a process of healing yourself. So today's messages are about what is being healed. What are some of the messages that you get from the individual piles? I have 3. With regards to what is being healed in your life right now. So if you're drawn to 1 or 2 or 3 messages, there may be a bit of a message in every pile. So whatever you're drawn to, it's let your intuition guide you. Let your intuition be in the driver's seat when you pick a pile. And you may pick more than 1. So pile number 1, when I was asking the question, what is being healed? The message for you is inconsistency in thought patterns. So there's an indication here that if you're picking pile 1, number 1, what is being healed is your own inconsistencies of your own thought patterns. If you are not consistent with your own inner thoughts about who you are and what you want to experience, and you keep referring back to your past where you didn't have that experience, effectively making you scared that you will not have that experience again, living in your past is limiting you. Not only that, it is effectively making you live in fear. Make a choice to not live in fear anymore, pile number 1. Now, little fear is important. It's like sprinkling some herbs on your food. It makes it taste more palatable. I always use the metaphor, if you are being chased by a lion, I want you to be scared for your life. Run. It's a beautiful mechanism. But if there is no real threat and you are imagining this threat in your mind, then you are making this threat your real. Anything could happen. What if the good things happen? So pile number 1, your thoughts are frequency. Inconsistency in your thoughts also means inconsistency in your frequency. And your thoughts charge your physical body. Your thoughts tell your body what to do, what to follow, how to be. So if you fuel your body or charge your body with fearful thoughts from the past, that's why we need to heal our past. We need to bring it back to alignment. Then you will be vibrating, can we say, in the frequency of fear. Now, when you vibrate in a certain frequency, that is what you will be experiencing. There is no other way. It's like standing in a pool of water and complaining that you are wet. Well, you're standing in a pool of water. In order for you not to feel wet, you got to get out. You have to move into a different space. You have to create a different reality for yourself. One when you are not wet, one when you are dry. And that's up to you. And of course, that's a metaphor. Always remember that no one is forcing you to believe what you believe. No one can force you to believe what you believe. People can suggest it to you, but you voluntarily have to take it on. Now, when we are young and beliefs are presented to us, we don't think about whether these beliefs are true or not. We just adopt them because we're in a state where, in a hypnotic state, up until about the age of 7, children absorb everything as truth without the cognitive understanding that what they may be perceiving may not be the story that they're looking at. There may be another perception, but children don't have that. That comes later in life. So what are some of the rampant, inconsistent thoughts you have about yourself that you've had since you were a child? I'm not good enough. Good enough for what? I am not lovable. Says who? And even if someone did say that to you, do you still believe that? Do you want to believe that? Do you choose to believe something that is limiting about you? And if you choose to believe something that is limiting about you, and you are choosing this consciously, again, more power to you, but why on earth would you want to do that? Telling yourself that you're not good enough to get married or you're not good enough to have lots of money is basically like giving yourself a prison sentence. Why on earth would you want to do that? Unless it's your desire. Again, there's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad. There is no judgment in anything you choose. None whatsoever. Now, from a human perspective, if you choose to be unkind to somebody, well, yes, as a human, I would say, you're not being kind. Is that a judgment? Yeah, well, it's an observation. I'm not talking about that. So understanding your thought patterns and acknowledging your hidden belief systems is very important. In fact, it's mandatory right now, because you're about to experience a very big shift and change. Your thoughts will affect this change. You're standing at a precipice. Some of you are asking the question, what do I want to do going forward? The question is, what would you choose to do going forward if you had the choice to make? And generally speaking, there are choices that we could make. It's just that we are often afraid of making these choices. Why? Because we're referring to our past, or something that someone says, no, you can't make this choice because if you make this choice, you're never going to have enough money. As an example. Historically, we look to our past for reference of something that didn't work. Not as much as something that did work. We much more frequently look at our past to say, oh, this is what happened, I better not do that. Or this is what happened, it might happen again. So we're referencing to our unhealed past to see our future. Is that what you're doing, pile number one? Are you referencing to your past or referring to your past in order to see your future? If you have, for example, if you have come out of a bad marriage and you are now scared of being in a relationship, then what you are basically saying is you're scared that your next relationship is going to be the same. No. You have a choice in that. You always have a choice. Now, It may be not easy to get out once you are in a relationship and it resembles your old relationships, but it's your choice to stay in it. It's not always an easy choice, but it is a choice. And sometimes that's difficult to handle. So the question is, what is from your past in terms of your thought patterns that's holding you back that you would like to experience more of in your life? Do you want to experience more money, for example? What are your thoughts about money? What are your inconsistent thoughts about worthiness, about having money, or abundance for that matter? Okay. We have a card of embracing family, so I'm going to tune into it. What I'm getting right away is that at some point in your past, you either felt rejected by your family or you were actually rejected. So just because you felt rejected doesn't mean that someone willfully rejected you. It's just their ways may have given you the message that they're rejecting you, but it was never about you. In fact, that is what I'm getting. This is for those of you who have felt rejected in your past. And this is the type of rejection that makes you feel like you're not good enough and therefore you're alone or like you're not part of something. Here's what I want to say to you. The rejection was the result of miscommunication. How is that? The person who rejected you didn't reject you, they rejected themselves. And because you're part of their life, they also rejected you. But it was never about you specifically. They didn't say, I want to reject you. They have rejected an aspect of themselves which they saw in you. Perhaps they made you feel like you're not good enough. It wasn't that you are not good enough or were not good enough. It was more about the person rejecting you did not feel good enough about him or herself. They were coming from a lack frequency, and then they projected that onto you. And this lack frequency is limiting you from fulfilling your dreams. Okay? So if you have some unresolved unresolved trauma around rejection, it would behoove you to look into that right now in order to help it heal. Okay? And oftentimes, and this is what I do with my work with my clients, more often than not actually, what makes something heal is a different level or higher level of understanding. The moment we look at something from a different perception, and we see that situation from the past from completely different perception, we often have an aha moment. And that aha moment helps us release ourselves from the past. So when you realize, when you have this aha moment, and it happens under different conditions. With my work and my team, we take you through a process to bring you back to the moment of when you actually begin to feel rejected, for example. And we work with that frequency. And when you shift that frequency, it's always because you are beginning to see something from a different perspective. So it happens in a container, if you will. Sometimes you just have an aha moment because it's time for you to see something differently. Also, pile number one, you are releasing a lot of guilt. You carry a tremendous level of guilt, perhaps guilt of not being good enough. Why would you feel guilty for something that isn't even true? There's no such thing as you not being good enough. It doesn't exist. It's your perception right now, yes, because of your experiences. But remember, your experiences don't just involve you. They involve other people, and often other people project their stuff onto you. Most of the things that you feel and believe are not even yours. Most of the things that we are carrying in terms of our beliefs are things that we have borrowed. We didn't form them ourselves. We just took them on. And they became our blueprint, if you will. Your past is your past. Don't ignore your past. because your past offers a lot of information. But if you cling on to your past energetically, if your past still fuels you, if you are still emotionally connected to your past where it is still a trigger for you, then that is what wants to be healed right now. So again, pile number 1, inconsistency in thoughts, in thought patterns, and how they limit you. We have the 9 of Wands. Okay, so this is, I'm not a tarot reader, this is purely intuitively. You are tired of doing this alone all the time. Perhaps you have isolated yourself in your life because of your feelings or fear of rejection. Perhaps you've learned not to let people close to you because when you do, you are bound to get hurt. That's you referring to your past. Here's what I'm going to tell you. People want to love you. The universe wants to love you. The universe wants to give to you, but in order for you to receive it, to be in receipt of that, your heart has to be open. You're not going to open your heart if you constantly fear rejection. Okay. Sometimes you will feel rejected, not because somebody wanted to reject you, but because how it affected you, but it wasn't their intent. Sometimes we may feel rejected, but it doesn't mean the person that we feel rejected from actually was rejecting us. We just took it that way. It was our misperception. Okay? Sometimes people do reject us, yes. But generally they reject us not for the reasons we think they reject us. It usually has something with them. Okay? Divine consciousness. You are ready, pile number 1, to be freed from your past. I don't know how you're going to do it. Of course, if you need help in releasing your past and healing your past, me and my team will be absolutely honored to help you with that. That information is down below. You are relinquishing your past's power over you, because the past holds a certain power. It's information. Okay? It's as if to say you are relinquishing yourself from information from the past that is limiting. You are choosing to no longer limit yourself, and that is amazing. That is fabulous. That is something you definitely want to do. When you feel less limited, you feel more free. This is where humanity is going, towards more freedom, towards experiencing more freedom. Humanity is made up of you and I and all the other billions of people. So when more humans feel a greater sense of freedom, we will experience that vibration in our world. We will experience freedom on the physical plane, more freedom. I know it's hard to grasp right now from where we're looking, but essentially that's what's happening. That's the energy that we are experiencing. We are moving from a space of lack to a space of abundance and more freedom, inner freedom, most importantly, inner freedom. Okay. So that's what I have for you, pile number 2. Absolutely beautiful message. All right, pile number 2. When I was shuffling cards and asking for a message for you, what I received was staying off the beaten path. So what does that mean, staying off the beaten path? Be your own leader. Create or carve your own way. Don't be afraid of being an individual. If you choose to follow, make sure that what you follow is truly what you want. If you are following if you are following thoughts, patterns, behaviors, perceptions, ideas that don't align with your truth, then you are not really living your life fully. You are, in essence, limiting your potential. There is a message here for some of you that how do I say this? You went off the beaten path. You are off the beaten path right now. In other words, you are doing something different and you're just starting this. It's fairly new to you. You've stepped off the beaten path and you've started something new, or something in a different way. And you're just at the beginning of it. Almost like a trial period. And you were wondering, should I continue this or should I go back? This could be a work situation. This could be a relationship. It's just, you are considering or questioning if you should leave the new that you've started to create and to go back. You could go back if you wanted to, but what comes to me is this: why would you want to go backwards? Although you never really go backwards, but because you always learn. Why would you want to go back? So, if you went off the beaten path recently and you have created something for yourself, but you're not sure if you can manage it, you're not sure if you're safe, you're not sure if you can make it work, you're not sure if it's going to work, and you kind of are scratching your head and going, would I be better off just going back? The answer is, all depends. If you choose to go back to what you were not happy with, then know that when you go back, you are going to something that was not giving you the level of happiness that you desired. In which case, if you consciously choose that, more power to you. Go back to that. It's okay. There's no judgment whatsoever. Do it powerfully. But if you go back believing that somehow it's going to be better, it's not going to be better unless you change yourself, you change your perception. So yes, you can go back to where you came from, but if you change nothing and all remains the same, then you will just have the same experience. Nothing will change. On the other hand, if you change your perception, going back could work. Just depends what you want to get out of it. However, going back is still going to limit you. That's what I'm getting. So however this applies to you, going back is still going to limit you. Okay? You can change your ways, but you're still not going to be fully satisfied. In other words, what I'm getting, if you're considering going back to something, you can. I, as Joanna, from the energy that's presented to me, feel that, probably wouldn't be my choice. Okay? It would make it easier in some ways, but in other ways it would make it a lot more difficult. And that's because I would have to be dealing with the thing that I got myself into, and that's not where I want to be. Okay? So from where I see, going back is probably not your best choice. Which means your other options or alternative is to keep doing what you're doing even though you're not seeing the fruit of your labor yet. And you may not see them for a while, but it does not mean that you are not on the right path for you. It just means that you have to be consistent, and with consistency you slowly are going to realize, oh my Lord, this is what I'm meant to do. If your heart is calling you to do that thing that's off the beaten path, and in fact that's how you got on that in the first place, then follow that and trust it. And I will tell you from first-hand experience that is difficult when you're going into something that is different, you've never done before, and it's not the norm or considered the norm, or it's not the norm yet. Then yes, there will be some trepidations, there will be fears that will come up, and there will be moments where you will be scared if you're gonna make it. They're giving me an example. Years and years ago, acupuncture was not a thing in the Western world. It was a crazy idea. Why on earth would you want to go have needles stuck to you? Makes no sense. In the Western world, obviously in the other parts of the world, it's been thousands of years. So do you think those people who chose to bring that modality into Western world and started their practices, do you think they were not afraid? They were completely off the beaten path. They were doing something that was not only not recognized, maybe even laughed at, but thought of as not real. And look at what, couple decades later, everybody knows what acupuncture is. In fact, it's covered by most extended plants. So if those individuals who were starting to practice acupuncture in a world where it was not known at all, they had their fears, but they believed in what they had to offer. The question is, do you believe in what you have to offer? What do you want to offer to the world, and how? How do you want to offer what you have to the world? What do you want to do? Do you want to write? Write. Do you need to become a writer to write, as in well-known, bestseller writer? You don't have to do that to write. If you want to write, write. Write a blog. Express your individuality through writing. And I'm talking about writing a lot. So for some of you, you might be thinking about writing. Okay? Maybe even writing as your career, or writing is somehow channeled writing, perhaps. Okay? Don't be afraid to acknowledge that this is a scary path for you. It is okay. It's okay to be scared. It means that you are entering a plane, if you will, where you have not been before. It's you're unaccustomed to what is. You don't know how it's going to turn out. You have no idea. You haven't been there yet. Not in this lifetime. In other lifetimes you have. You're just going back to what you used to do. You have a plethora of experience within your own inner body that has all the information you ever need about the situation that you are doing now by being off the beaten path. In other words, you are really stepping into your power. You're just not used to it. Maybe you're not used to seeing yourself as a powerful person. We all are. Every single individual is powerful. Okay? The level or magnitude of power that a person exerts or wields depends on what they believe about themselves. Do you believe in you? Do you believe in you? Because if you have any qualms about believing you or in you, you're going to have a very hard time pursuing what you want. Because you don't believe in yourself. The question is why? Why don't you believe in yourself? What stands in the way of you believing yourself? What part of you says, no, I object to you believing in you? Find what that is right now for you. Pile number 2. What do you object about yourself? What do you not believe about yourself? What do you believe about your own power? What beliefs do you hold about you as far as being a creator? Remember, what we're talking about right now is what's being healed. You are effectively looking at healing your mind. Now, your mind isn't broken. Your mind isn't ill. By healing, we mean bringing it back to higher awareness, higher consciousness. Because having higher awareness and embodying higher consciousness will allow you to do exactly what you're here to do. To give of yourself. You're here to give of yourself. And this is happening. And this right now, what you're going through, the off-beaten path thing, is you stepping into that more fully. But you've done it before many, many times. Many of you are practicing or non-practicing healers. In fact, we are all healers, to be honest with you. We all heal. We all manipulate energy all day long. That's what we do. We don't even think. We just don't realize that's what we do. That's all we do. It's all energy. We are directing energy all the time. It's either towards healing or unhealing, comfort or discomfort, fear or freedom. Most of it is happening unconsciously, but it doesn't mean that you're not creating unconsciously. In fact, most of our creation is from the unconscious, not the conscious. So perhaps pile number 2, the question is, what are you unconsciously holding on to that is making you be afraid of being or going off the beaten path? What are you afraid is going to happen? You might have some past life memory where you feel you're going to be killed. Perhaps you have been killed by doing exactly what you are wanting to do right now. That's you holding on to a past memory. That's limiting. That's what you need to heal. Well, you don't need to do anything, but it would behoove you to look into that. You can release a lot of energies just by feeling, allowing yourself to feel whatever is being felt right now by you, not to discount it or get away from it. Particularly if it's a fear. Tuning into a fear can be an extraordinarily powerful experience, because what you are doing is you are allowing yourself to channel that frequency out of your body, effectively digesting something that has been stuck. So if you fear, if there is an unconscious fear of being killed or somehow treated unfairly because of the gifts that you had, that memory, that unconscious memory, which is living in your body, in your cells, is going to make it more difficult for you to create the life you want. Because it's always going to be sitting there saying, be afraid, be afraid, be afraid. Now, can we get rid of all fear? No, it's not necessary. But it's important and sometimes it's very, very, very helpful to understand where a fear is coming from. Because if a fear is coming from the unconscious, and unconscious is stored, or past is stored in the unconscious, then what we understand is that when we fear something, it's not because something is going to happen, but because something has happened. Now, just because something has happened doesn't mean it's going to happen again. Your body doesn't know that. Your memory doesn't know that because it only had that experience to refer back to. So pile number 2, this is about healing your past, which will allow you to stay or move onto off-beaten path. So that you're no longer assuming a role that everyone has created for you. Instead, you are choosing your own role. You're becoming your own authority. And by the way, whoever you are, you're very good at that. You just don't know it yet. You haven't practiced enough to go, oh, okay, I'm actually really good at this. Practice being patient. I know many of you hearing this are going to roll your eyes and go, oh my God, patience. Yes, that's a big one. We can't force anything to happen. If you're trying to force something to happen, you are doing it out of fear. Don't force anything to happen. Everything will unfold just at the right time when you're ready. Okay? Perhaps you are trying to force your new project because you're feeling insecure. But that insecurity is just going to add to more of a fear, and it's not going to help you create a positive future. It's not that it's going to deter you, but it's not going to be helpful when you're stressed and afraid all the time. It's not. You have to relax. It's not easy to do. Now, when we are fearful, it's very hard to relax. When we are holding onto our fearful past, we don't even know that we are not relaxed because it's just our norm. In fact, oftentimes our norm is anxious and we don't even realize we're anxious because it's our norm, it's our world, it's what it's always been. Pile number 2, are you an anxious person? If you're an anxious person, and I'm not talking about having anxiety here and there, because there are really some things to be concerned about. It's normal. But if you are normally an anxious person, there is a certain level of fear that you are always attached to. In other words, there's always some message in the background that's telling you to be afraid. And it's constant. Again, this is not a conscious thing, but if you're an anxious person, that fear is holding you back. Okay? Perhaps some of you have had traumatic experience in this lifetime. I know many of you, probably most of you, have had traumatic experiences in this lifetime, in other lifetimes, particularly if you're a healer type and you are moving more into wanting to experience your life going forward as a practicing healer, but you're moving away from a traditional business world. Okay. If that's what your heart is calling you to do, then I would encourage you to continue that. Now, if that means that you need to supplement your way in some ways, by all means. But going back to something that is not for you anymore is not going to make you happy. Okay, so let's see, what cards do we have here? Energy transmission. So you are in your own frequency upgrade. Okay, 10, of course, to me, indicates an end of a cycle. So it would make perfect sense if whoever you are, if you're listening to this, you are about to or have just begun a new cycle where you started something new, something very different than what you're used to. Perhaps even your friends or family are looking at you like, are you crazy? What are you doing that for? Perhaps you're deciding to play music. You've always loved to play music, and now you're making time to play music. Okay. We have Three of Cups, beautiful, and we have King of Cups. So there's a lot of emotional stability coming to you. Dear one, I want to say. In fact, she's pretty open and she's pretty relaxed. There's a level of happiness and stability, emotional stability. Now, if you're an anxious person, I will tell you right now that your emotions are not very stable because you're constantly under threat, right? Again, it's not a conscious thing, but if you're an anxious person, that's happening. There's always constantly something threatening you in the background, okay? This is indicating to me that you are working yourself through that. However you're going to do it, however it is going to come to you over the next weeks, months, you are moving to a space within yourself where you're a lot calmer and a lot more at ease and at peace. Now, being at ease and at peace with yourself often indicates a certain level of self-acceptance and certainly healing. So this is telling me that if it isn't happening already, that you are moving into a space where a lot of healing will be taking place. Now, I want to say this to you. It's not going to be happening to you. You will be, or maybe you already are, an active participant, which means you are the one bringing about the healing, which means you are facing your own stuff. And from first-hand experience and being the Queen of Shadows, I will tell you that facing your own stuff is not easy. One of the reasons why it's not easy is because you cannot face something you don't even know is there. Okay? So likely you are looking at exposing your shadows, making friends with your shadows, appreciating your shadows, turning your shadows into energy that's much less limited, making peace with your shadows, integrating your shadows. In order to integrate anything, we have to be on acceptance of it. And generally speaking, Joanna here working with shadow for the last over 20 years, most people tend to shy away from their shadows, run away from their shadows, ignore their shadows, want to get rid of their shadows. Shadow is there generally to help you. You just don't see it that way, not from your current perspective. So this is indicating to me that a lot of your peace and internal calmness is going to be from or through facing and integrating your shadows or your dark aspects of yourself. Those are very healing healing, those are very healing things to do, if I can use that analogy. They're very profound, and they absolutely shift your perception and your vibration, which ultimately affects the rest of your life. I love what I'm seeing for you, pile number 2. Last but not least, oh my God, I couldn't have balance, freedom, yin and yang. I also want to say this to you. You're not alone in this. Ask for help. If you cannot afford somebody to help you with a shadow-facing process, ask the universe to align you with books, people, podcasts, information that would at least help you start the process by yourself. I guarantee you, you will receive information on how to move forward. You may even experience somebody offering you, this is just what I'm getting, a discount so that you can work with them. When you are willing and when things are aligned, when the universe picks something or someone that's perfect for you, it will happen. You will not know how, you will not know why, you will not know, how did I deserve this? It's got nothing to do with deserving. The universe will find a way to help you heal. Your job is to stay active in the engagement of healing by realizing that there's always something to heal. Now, I also want to say this, which might sound very contradictory. I don't want you to get stuck on the idea of always healing, because when you're always stuck on, I gotta heal, then what you're really focusing is on what's wrong. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with anyone, not from a higher perspective. So when I say heal, I'm not saying, oh my God, you're broken, you need to heal yourself. No, what I'm saying is there are some aspects of yourself you want to confront. And when you confront these aspects of yourself, you are going to experience a lot more freedom. Sometimes you will experience temporary setback in order to be catapulted 10 steps forward. Perhaps what you are experiencing right now is a setback, or what you are seeing is as a setback. And perhaps it's not a setback at all. Perhaps it's a space for you to reconsider what you're doing and why you're doing it. Is this really what I want? If not, what do I want and how can I make it happen? Universe, how can you help me make it happen? Except when you ask the universe how, it's a little bit comical, because your human mind is not going to know how the universe is going to help you, because it's beyond your current thinking. You don't have a box for that. The universe has amazing ways of delivering things and messages and people to us in ways we have never even thought about. So trying to ask the universe how, it's the ego wanting to understand so that it can stay in control. In fact, when you let go of the control is when healing happens. When you let go of controlling the environment, which is done primarily out of fear, that's when you experience, ironically, more freedom. Okay, so that's what I have for pile number 2. Amazing, beautiful message. All right, pile number 3, this is going to be a message or messages for you. When I was shuffling cards for you, the message I got was this. Relax your gaze, be open to other ideas. Don't be so fixated on one thing or only one way. Possibilities are endless. Okay. So what this was showing me is that you're intently focused on something, to the exclusion of everything else. And it's like, I want it this way, this is how I want it, it feels very rigid. What if there was a better way? What if there was something even better? But your mind can't imagine it yet, because it's stuck in its own confinement. What if there was a different way going about what you want? Would you give it a go? So the message here is for pile number 3, to not be so stuck in your own ways. Because when we are stuck in our own ways too much, we become very rigid. When we are very rigid and a lot of changes happen, the way we withstand that change can be very uncomfortable because we're rigid. So you are going, pile number 3, probably through some very uncomfortable change right now, as the world is at large. They're saying it doesn't have to be as uncomfortable as it is, but in order for that to happen, you have to learn how to relax more into the process and trust that the universe knows where you're going. You have your helpers, you have your guides, source, angels. But you seem to be stuck on seeing things only one way or in one direction. And here's what I'm going to say. If that's you, in whatever way, in however it appears to you, I'm going to say you're robbing yourself of tremendous opportunities that will lie in front of you, but you're not going to be able to see it because you're too stuck on seeing things only one way or wanting things to be only one way. And what I'm here to say to you is this. There is something even better, but you haven't conceived it yet in your own mind. You don't believe that you are capable of something even more than the way you want it. If you want a certain partner, for example, and you have a very rigid list, not saying that that partner is not going to be good for you with whatever you've listed, but what the universe is saying is there is some things that you need from a partnership that is not on the list, and it's because you're not thinking of it. The universe thinks of these things in terms of growth. So does your soul. What you need is a partner who will help you grow, not limit you, help you grow. If you are not open to growth, you will limit yourself in terms of what you could experience. If you have a certain type, for an example, as a partner, I would relax your gaze about the type that you want. Because maybe the type that you want is not really the right type for you. Okay, so it feels like pile number 3, there is some commitment or relationships messages here. They're saying being okay with who you are right now is standard procedure for feeling good being in your own body. And when you feel good being in your own body, we tend to relax. We tend to loosen up. We tend to be less rigid. So maybe you are stuck on this one thing in your particular way because you're not very confident. Now, everyone has experienced some level of non-confidence at some point in time. What I'm talking about is this overarching level of confidence that's non-confidence that's with you all the time. In other words, would you describe yourself to yourself, being honest, as a confident person? If I, Joanna, was to ask myself that question, I would say yes or no. For most part, yes. In some situations, no. But overall, I would say I am now a fairly confident person. Okay? If I was more non-confident than confident, then that would be a problem. Well, that would be a problem because I would be holding myself back and potentially not being able to what I do here with you and for you. Okay? So a certain level of confidence is required. Perhaps you want to be more at peace with yourself in order for your confidence to shine through so that you can experience so much more in life than you think you have options for. I believe a lot of this is about relationships, pile number 3. So if relationships are not on your radar, maybe this is not a message for you. It's mostly for relationships. I see you being very selective in terms of who you choose to spend your time with, based on how you feel being around the person or how they make you feel about you. Now, I want to give a caveat here. It's not somebody's responsibility to make you feel a certain way, but if they deliberately say things to you that are unkind, manipulative, anything of that nature, why would you want that? Is that what you enjoy? So what you are being much more astute, okay? I'll use that word, with regards to who you spend your time with. And this is happening on an energetic level. You are beginning to see things from an energetic point of view, and you are looking at how it feels to be around somebody on an energetic level. Does your energy feel good? Do theirs energy feel good? Now, sometimes, but this wouldn't be in a romantic relationship. Sometimes we're in a work situation when somebody's energy sucks and they're like very draining. Then what you have to do is you have to kind of sort of energetically protect yourself from energetic vampires. And you may not have, well, you always have a choice, but your choice may not be quitting because you're making money and you need to pay your bills. So you have to deal with this person whose energy kind of sucks. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking more about specifically being in a romantic relationship by choice. Okay? If you're choosing to be with somebody who's toxic, this could also be with friendships. If you're choosing to be around someone who's toxic and their toxicity will inevitably affect you, you have to ask yourself this question: why do I want that? Why would I want that? Why would I want toxic energy in my life? Why would you want to? Maybe you're used to it. Quite simply, maybe you're used to it and you never even thought about it, and it was just a thing that you've always accepted because it felt like home. Is toxic energy part of your relationship pattern? Now, you may also be the one bringing toxicity into a relationship. Toxicity stems from something that is unhealed. Now, in order to know if you are a toxic person, you'd have to be really honest with yourself. And that one is hard because we often don't see ourselves because we're in it. Oftentimes we need an objective point of view to truly fully see ourselves. And in fact, shadow work does that very, very well under certain conditions. So maybe you are a toxic person and you're not even realizing it. When I say toxic, it means you are holding some hurt and pain, and you are bringing that hurt and pain into a relationship. And it hurts the relationship. I'm not saying you're to blame. I'm saying each person contributes to a relationship. So if someone else brings toxic energy to the relationship, they're going to effectively affect the relationship with toxic energy. And if you are part of that, then you are either choosing to be part of it or not choosing to be part of it. Okay? If you are the one being toxic, then it's a little bit different. It requires you to look at yourself and say, do I bring toxic energy into the relationship? And I really want to stress this very, very important point. This is not for you to blame yourself. This is not to find fault with yourself. This is purely about understanding the energy you bring with you into any relationship you go with, especially one that is romantic or intimate in nature. Okay? Here's why. If there is a lot of toxicity, if there is toxicity in a relationship, then there is relatively less feelings of feeling safe. There's less trust. Think of the idea of something toxic. It's not life-affirming. Something that is toxic is meant to make something die, okay? So we could say that toxic energy literally contributes to relationships' death or death of a relationship. Okay? It's a contributing factor. Now, relationships die for various reasons, but this is specifically about toxicity. Okay, so panel number 3, there seems to be a suggestion that you either have come out from a toxic relationship. You are used to toxic relationships. It's how you grow up. And it seems to be, you seem to attract certain people or certain types, and there is toxicity attached to it. All I'm saying here is, if this is the case with you, if this is your observation, if you are used to attracting toxic people, then you have to ask yourself this question: what part of you is attracting that? Not as blame, but as self-inquiry. Okay? And that requires a certain level of discipline, but it also requires you not to be the judge and jury. If you knew better, you wouldn't do certain things. Obviously, you don't know any better, or you didn't know any better. So this is no blame. I really, really, really want to stress this. There's no blame. You are essentially learning how to communicate with yourself in order to learn more about yourself so that you can make better choices and better decisions for yourself going forward. Okay, let's see what we have as far as messages, cards. Single. Are you kidding? Single-minded focus. It was actually turned in reverse, but are you too fixed on anything? Are you too stuck on something? Are you fixated on something that doesn't serve you? Are you only seeing things one way? Are you seeing things as black and white? And is what you are fixated on limiting you or expanding you? This is your job, pile number 3, to find that out right now. We have the King of Wands. So there is a movement here. I feel that this movement has to do with vibration of, I want to say qualification. So this is a slightly different message. It's like you're in a process of requalifying yourself or qualifying yourself to be an authority in some other aspect. Maybe you are moving from being an accountant to being a musician. That's just an example. Okay, you are requalifying yourself. This could also mean that you are looking for different qualities in people than what you were used to. This would be particularly in relationships. Okay, you're looking for different types of qualities. Or alternatively, you are reflecting back and you are recognizing certain qualities that didn't serve you in the past, but you didn't see it. And now, because of the work that you are doing on yourself, self-inquiry, you're able to see it. So you're picking out certain qualities and you're going, okay, this person has this quality. That sounds familiar. I'm not going to go near that. Okay. I'm also feeling that you, how do I say this, please? You're growing in value. But I'm going to rephrase this. It's not that you are growing in value. I mean, yes, you could be accumulating stuff, but I'm not talking about the physical stuff. The type of value that I'm talking about is internal value. It's knowing your worth, okay? And your worth as far as beingness has nothing to do with what you own or what you have as your possessions. Zero, okay? That's a human thing, okay? You are worthy regardless of what you have or don't have. You are worthy even if you're dirt poor. Okay? What I'm talking about here is how you see yourself. You are beginning to transform the way you see yourself, and the way you see yourself or beginning to see yourself is someone of value. You are recognizing your own value. I have value to offer. I have something valuable to offer. And because I have something valuable to offer, I'm not just going to sell myself out to just anybody. Okay? On the other hand, if somebody's asking for my help, I am going to ask for what I am worth or what I believe I want in return. Okay? Everything is give and take, remember, especially in relationships. Okay? Seeing yourself as someone of value automatically shifts your vibration to a higher level. It shifts your vibration, quite literally. Okay? And because of that, you are in a position to experience something different, a different experience, a better quality experience, a better quality relationship. When you come out of relationships where you saw yourself as minimal or not as value, then you would have attracted a certain types of relationship that would basically say to you, yeah, see, I'm not of value. Okay, that's how it works. On the other hand, when you shift that, when you begin to see yourself as someone of value, you see your true value. Your true value is you've got something to give. You're a good person. You have good intentions, I'm assuming, for the most part. You have certain qualities that other people don't have. You're unique. Your uniqueness alone is of value. Okay? When you see that in you, when you see it as something that's positive, when you see it as something that's valuable, your vibration changes. You shift your perception of how you see yourself and your vibration changes. When you shift your perception and your vibration changes, it helps to shift the vibration or consciousness of the entire world, because you are part of the fabric that makes up this world. So in short, seeing yourself as someone of value changes the way not only you see yourself, but how you vibrate out into the world, and that vibration affects the whole. Imagine everyone thought of themselves as someone of value and nobody vibrated in lack consciousness. Do you believe the world would be different? Of course. In fact, that's where we're heading. We're nowhere near, but that's where we're heading. Purification. I want to say you're about to be purified. But it's not because someone is purifying you for you. You're going through a process of purification. Washing away old wounds. For example, believing that you are not a valuable person stems from some wound that you are holding on to. It stems from the wound of insignificance. You are not insignificant. You cannot be insignificant. That is not in existence. It's your perception, maybe, but that is not the ultimate truth. You are part of all that makes up the entire universe. You are part of that. There is nothing insignificant about that, doesn't matter how hard you try. Therefore, it's your human perception. But remember, you are the one holding onto your perception. So if you are the director and the manager of your perception, you have a say on what perception you hold about you. Do you want to hold the perception you have about you as insignificant? Why? Now, if you want that because you say, universe, I want to feel insignificant, damn it. You know what? Good on you. Do it powerfully. Go for it. As a matter of fact, share your experience, because it's going to be an interesting one. But if you don't, take it off the table. Put something else on the table. Change the way you see things. Change the way you see you. You're not insignificant. You never were. You never will be. Just because you feel certain something about yourself doesn't make it so. I always say this, just because you feel like shit doesn't make you poop. Right? Right. So allow yourself to feel whatever you want to feel, but then ask yourself this question: do I want to feel this way for the rest of my life? If it's something like insignificance, I guarantee you that is not how you want to feel. And do you know how I know that? Because that's where I come from. I know what it means. I understand it. I wrote the thesis. I can talk about it. I see the difference between seeing myself as insignificant and significant or powerful. Those are two opposing. It's a paradox. We're both absolutely significant and we can feel insignificant all at the same time. We live in a world of paradox. That is the polarity. So if you live in a certain polarity that's dragging you down, shift your polarities. That's what I have for you, pile number 3. By the way, pile number 3, I just saw your heart healing. So that tells me that what's being healed in your life right now or shortly after is your heart. Yay! That's what I have for you. I thoroughly enjoyed this transmission. Of course, if you would like help with your own healing, with your own shadows, my team and I would be absolutely honored to be part of your unfolding. And that information is down below. You can connect with me or book a session with me. And please do comment how this information connects with you, if in any way. Please share and subscribe. It really helps the algorithm to put the video where it can be seen. Otherwise, the less people see it, the less chance this information has of getting out there. And I believe that this information is very valuable. That's what I believe. Maybe you believe so too. So I wish you a wonderful rest of the week, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Remember to click the notification bell to get notifications when I upload new content. Thank you. See you soon.